Welcome back to the weekend edition of The Source. As we know, the Olympics, the Summer Olympics, were canceled last year. Not really canceled, I guess, postponed to 2021. And things, as they drag on with the pandemic, it makes it even a little more uncertain that we may even be able to have them this coming year. Let's visit with Michele Donnelly. She's an assistant professor in Brock School of Sports Management. Michele, welcome to The Source. It's great to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Can you predict? Can you put on that hat, maybe rub the crystal ball and predict, do you think these Olympics are going to come off in Japan this year?
Well, everything that we're hearing from the International Olympic Committee would suggest that they are. The president, Thomas Bach, has been making it really clear. He said recently there is no plan B. It's having the games this summer or there just is no option. What's interesting is that he sounded very much like that last March. So if there is a way to make them happen, I think the International Olympic Committee, and particularly their top sponsors and the major Olympic broadcasters, will do everything possible to have the games happen. We do need to watch, Canada was the leader the last time around in terms of saying, we're not going to send our athletes to the games if they're happening in 2020. We don't feel like it's safe for our athletes. So it will be interesting to see what happens kind of at the National Olympic Committee level.
That is a great question, because once countries start pulling out because of concerns with the virus, what does that really do to the Olympics?
Yeah, I mean, it makes them certainly an asterisk Olympics, right? Like the boycotted games. Would these count towards countries' total medal counts in the games if not everybody is represented? Even within sports, if the games happen, but not all athletes choose to travel or are able to travel or travel safely and end up being cleared for competition in Tokyo, there will be, we'll definitely see, I believe, the impacts of the pandemic in the competition if it does go ahead.
In your eyes, is it likely that there will be bums in the seats for any of these games?
So it looks now like they're really, for the first time, kind of entertaining the idea that there will not be fans in the stands. And I mean, we know from, again, a relatively recent poll of people in Japan, over 80% would support the games either being postponed again or canceled. So it will be interesting to see. Presumably, if the games happen, you will have people who are interested in going to watch them. And I think that would be important for the athletes. But at the same time, if there's not widespread kind of community support for holding the games, that might be certainly affect how many people go to watch. I mean, Tokyo and its surrounding areas right now are in a state of emergency because of their COVID rates.
As much as the Olympics is about the ultimate in sports, it's also about money. And without ticket sales, a lot of that money is lost. How much influence do the TV networks have over whether or not the Olympics are run?
Yeah, I think the broadcasters have an incredible amount of influence. They invest millions of dollars in these broadcast contracts. This is, a major event on their sport calendar for, every 2 years, right? We're seeing a winter and a summer, and we're already at the point where Tokyo will happen this summer, and then we'll turn around and have the Winter Olympics in Beijing in 2022. That'll be February. So, I mean, this will be the closest window of time that we've seen games in. And we already know from this past sports season, there were some real issues around viewership because we ended up with way more sports, after having kind of no sport on television or broadcast. Then we had a lot of sport being broadcast, and all of the seasons really running into each other and overlapping in ways that they don't typically in a regular season. So you kind of throw the Olympic Games into the mix, and this event that typically has really high viewership rates. It's one of the best times every 4 years for coverage of women's sport. We see far more coverage of women's sport during the Olympic Games than we do at any other time in the Olympic cycle. So yeah, it certainly will be interesting to see what happens with broadcast. And if, like I said, if the broadcasters have their way, something will be happening. There will be something to broadcast from Tokyo this summer.
Michele, thank you so much for joining us. And like you, we'll be watching to see how this all pans out. Thanks again.